Hey, horror fans, once again, it's the Horror Miser, Monty G, and today we're going to talk about last night's episode of American Horror Story Cult. Now, last night's episode, we have a cold opening. We have this new patient that is seeing Dr. Rudy Vincent. Her name is Rosie. Rose? I think is what her name is. Let's see. Yeah, Rosie. Rosie. Apparently, he has cured her of, obviously, he's a phobia expert, and he's cured her of a fear of buried inside of a coffin. Apparently, she was locked in a cupboard by her father. That caused her a fear of being locked up in a coffin. And he's cured her of this phobia. And to celebrate, her and her husband go back home. And lo and behold, while her husband gets, she hears a weird sound in their house. And lo and below, when they go into their bedroom, there are two side-by-side coffins, his and her coffins, and they certainly are attacked by these people with weird clown masks on. And they eventually seal them up inside the coffin. Interesting. She has a fear of being buried inside of a coffin, and now we find out that they get buried in coffins and attacked by weird-looking people with clown faces. We have to take a look at this Dr. Rudy Vincent, but we'll talk about more about him later. All right, now we go back to Allie and Ivy, their house. Ivy is skitting because she thinks she's going to go to jail because she shot and killed Pedro, but it appears as though Michigan has a stand your ground law. And it looks like she is not going to be arrested because she felt for her life and she had an opportunity to defend herself, and he was on her property, so she had every right to kill him. Unfortunately, this does not bode well for all those people, immigrants, and they start picketing her in Ivy's store called the Butcher Up, I believe. And of course, to make matters worse, her weird neighbors, the Wilsons, come over and they wear sombreros and they literally just tear into her. I mean, they give her a new one. How does it feel to exercise your white privilege to murder people of color with impunity? They shriek. Like I said, they're also wearing sombreros and they really get pissed off at her. And she tells them to get the F out of her house, or get the F out of her porch. Later that night, there's a green tanker that's spewing some weird stuff throughout the neighborhood, and of course Allie's already on edge as it is right now. She literally goes up to the trunk, tells them to stop. They're not stopping. She nearly gets run over by this tank that's spilling all this weird stuff in her neighborhood. Obviously that tank is up to no good as well, and that's just the beginning of what turns to be a very bad day for Allie. Later on in that day, Winter arrives back, and of course Allie's not too happy with her because she abandoned her. After they apologize, Winter says, wait a minute, there's some weird man that just came into your house, and we go into the living room and there's some naked man, and he's visually masturbating, playing with himself, saying that there was an ad in the paper saying that the two hot lesbians want to have some dude to come give them hot sex. Ivy kicks them out of the house, and they find out that there's an ad in the paper, and they're trying their best to get rid of it, but once they get rid of it, the ad goes away. Meanwhile, Allie is talking on the phone to Dr. Vincent again, and while he's talking to her on the phone, he's playing with these buttons that have smiley faces that look like clowns. As a matter of fact, if you actually take a look, they actually look like the same smiley face clowns that we saw in the beginning of the show. Something's up with Dr. Vincent. Don't we believe that he might be involved in that? It seems very nefarious. But, you know, that's just an Easter egg. Could be, well, we all know about American Horror Story. They love to play twist on it. But we have to keep that in mind. It might come into play later. So later on in the show, while Allie is going crazy because she thinks everyone is a racist, you know, she goes, everyone thinks I'm a racist. Do you understand the specific pain of someone like me being accused of that? Because she's about as liberal as they come, but now the shoe is falling on the other foot. We also get introduced. She also gets introduced to Kai once again, because while she's at the road again, Kai comes up to her and he understands how she feels, and then anything happens to her, he'll take care of her. Later on that evening, we find out that Ozzy, their son, now has a guinea pig, and he's called Mr. Guinea. And they tell, come on, honey, you know we don't like what is this, normative pet names? Some weird shit. This caused Allie to go crazy, saying there's no way in the world that my kid going to give a Mr. Guinea Pig. So she calls them up and really curses them out. And of course, Harrison shrieks, he needs a man in his life. He's drowning in white privilege and estrogen over there, meaning Ozzy. And you kind of feel sorry for Ozzy because he's caught in the middle in all this craziness right there. And we know that Allie does not want to do anything with it, and Ivy's trying her best to keep her calm. Later on, we actually find that the Wilsons are having their own secret meeting with Mr. Kai. It seems like he's not doing the picky thing with his sister. He's also doing the picky thing with the Wilsons as well. At one point, when Meadow goes over there and she gives him a flippant answer, he literally just bitch smacks the shit out of her. I mean, really crowned her with a good one. Eventually, she reveals the truth that she feels as though she's going to die alone and not have any children. Because you have to remember, her husband's gay. And Harrison, he comes and does his pinky swing, and he admits the fact that he wished Madison were dead. That might come into play too as well. A lot of subtle hints in this episode. Meanwhile, Allie and Ivy are having a very nice family outing right there at their restaurant, and everything seems to be going nice. So nice that they allow Isaac to keep the guinea pig. Unfortunately, when they get back, Mr. Guinea is not in his cage, and lo and behold, we won't believe it or not, but he's in the microwave, and unfortunately, he explodes. Me and my weird sense of humor, I cracked up at that. I know it's probably not funny because a poor kid had to see a pet that he really loved die. That remind me of the Fatal Attraction when they found the bunny in the stove and the poor girl was crying because she loved the bunny. But hey, look, it's horror. What do you expect? Of course, this pisses Allie off to the point of no return. She marches over to the Wilson's house and literally cold cocks Harrison in the face with his bee mask. And Ivy's trying her best to calm her down. They literally start fussing and fighting and cursing at each other. And they finally leave, and they see a smiley face painted on their door. And it kind of reminds me of the smiley face we saw on this television show called The Mentalist. Red John was the serial killer there, and he painted a smiley face on his victims. And we see a smiley face painted on their doorway, meaning that obviously that's what the killer leaves, because that's what they saw. So she, after fussing and screaming at the whatchamacallit, she threatens she's going to kill both of them. That will come into play as well, too, as the story concludes. Unfortunately, after finally calming down, they finally go back into the house. Ozzy is watching a video that he doesn't want neither Allie nor Allie or Ivy to see, saying that there's a virus onto it. We find out it's sort of almost a makeout session between Allie and Winter. And this pisses Ivy off to the point of no return as well. And she literally bitch smacks his Ivy, thinking that she's cheated on her and she's going to leave and take Ozzy with them as well. Obviously, Allie is saying, look, I didn't do anything. I didn't cheat on you. Obviously, someone's setting it up. She thinks everyone is against her with the clowns, the gas, everything is turning against her and just throwing her into a fit. Of course, this doesn't, by the time that Ivy is about to leave and take Ozzy with them, we also see that Harrison is throwing a hissy fit because he can't find Madison. He's covered in blood. He's screaming bloody murder. He nearly attacks Ivy and Allison, and the cops finally tackle him, wrestle him down. Meanwhile, they're trying to find Ozzy. Ozzy is standing in the middle of the living room, and he's looking up, and we think we might see Madison dead, but we don't. We see that the house has blood smears all over it, and again, once again, we see the smiley face painted on the doorway, and that was the end of the episode. So, a lot happened this today. A lot of bad stuff happened to Allie. It looks like she can't cut a break. She's been accused of being a racist. People are picketing at the doorway. The only good thing she had was a nice night out with her wife and her son. But then that gets tossed into hell. It's unfortunately that she cannot catch a break. What about Dr. Vincent? You think he's up to no good? Like I said before. He's the only one that knows about people's phobias because they tell him about it, and we might see something nefarious with him. you know how subtle hints that American Horror Story gives out, and you have to look carefully. Because I had to watch the episode twice in order to find out, in order to make sure I caught what I caught. And yes, like I said, the cold opening, Rosie says she doesn't like to be buried alive in it. She doesn't want to be buried in a coffin. She has a fear of coffins, and unfortunately, then she dies in one. We see that he's talking to Allie. He's got these buttons that look like smiley clowns on their faces, look like the same smiley clowns that we saw in the beginning of the episode. So, what do you think? Do you think Dr. Rudolph? Do you think Dr. Vincent is in on it as well? What do you think is happening to Allie? What's going on with who are these people they're spraying all these chemicals on? And what's Kai's reasoning as far as what's going on? And what's Kai's real reasoning by having these pinky promises, these pinky things that he has? Comment below and let me know, and we'll talk about it. Well, that's my video for tonight. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. I hope you enjoyed last night's episode. If this is your first time here, please like, subscribe, and share. And also, all my social media links will be down in the description below as well. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Letterboxd. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G. And always remember that horror rules.